Huntsville, broadcasting live from the Wiesner Huntsville studios. We are your hometown radio station, playing today's best country and all your favorites. 101.7 KSAM.
It's the Huntsville Hornets Coaches Show with head coach Rodney Southern, brought to you by Chick-fil-A. Now, here's Carlos Zimmerman and Brian Adams.
Hey, Chick-fil-A, how we doing tonight? Welcome back to the Hornet Nation Coaches Show, live tonight from Chick-fil-A in Huntsville, presented by Diana K. Bard State Farm Insurance. I am your benevolent host, Carlos Zimmerman, alongside my main squeeze, Brian Adams, and head coach Rodney Southern this evening. Y'all give Coach Southern a round of applause this evening. Coach, as always, we'll kick things off, get an opening statement from you from last Friday's game against Clear Springs, and then we'll get ready to look ahead to what's coming up this week.
Well, there was a lot of good things and obviously a lot of bad things that we've got to continue to work on. The good thing, we're done with a very tough non-district schedule. We're probably going into Friday probably as healthy as we've been since the beginning of the year. Juwan will be a full go this week, which, adds another element to our offense. So, overall there's always a lot of good and a lot of bad you can take from games. You just have to move on, and obviously starting district, we got to kind of change our attitude about where we are from this point forward.
Coach, just looking back to last Friday, obviously a tough loss to Clear Springs, really a tale of two halves. What were some positive moments out of that game Friday? Well,
I thought the first half we played pretty consistent football, but, you look back to starting drive, we had another penalty that put us in a 1st and 15 on the minus 24-yard line. We've done that 2 weeks in a row, so we addressed that today in practice, so hopefully we eliminate one problem like that. I thought we moved the ball well in spots, but we didn't do well in the red zone. But, you also have to do the things you feel like you need to do to win a game, and obviously the fake punt worked extremely well. The surprise onside kick worked extremely well. The only disappointing thing there, we didn't get points off that. So there's still a lot of stuff that we've got to continue to get better at, but I think now that you kind of wipe away that first part of your season, which is your non-district schedule, and we still got to go on the road, but we also know the latter part of our schedule, 3 of the 5 of them are going to be at home. So I think we're in a good place. Our grades, surprisingly, at this stage right now, I feel really good about where we are, even at the lower level with our freshmen who a lot of times struggle the first 6 weeks. But we're in a really good place. Our kids have done a good job, but our coaches have done a good job making sure they're getting stuff done.
Hey, Coach, defensively, the secondary stepped up in a really big way, especially the good plays at the end of the first half with Claudio Alvarenga to limit the Chargers to a field goal. What were some of the other bright spots in your mind defensively that took place Friday night?
Well, I thought we got off the field the other night. One of our big deals has been third down situations, 3rd and 8s, 3rd and 9s, where you've got to force a 4th down and either force a punt or a field goal. I thought we got off the field early. Now, I think in the second half, they decided, which is what they should have done, we're going to line up and run the football. But when we do play action, we're going to give you enough deep stuff that you can't get your safeties down in the box as much. And I think that hurt us the second half. But, I thought consistently, first half especially, I thought we tackled pretty well the other night. And that when you have inexperienced guys, they've got to learn how to do that, because we can simulate every day in practice, but we can't simulate speed, because I don't know how fast Montgomery's quarterback is. I know he's athletic, but I really don't know how fast he is. So, those are things you got to just continue to work on in practice. And I thought, especially today, we had a great day dealing with some of these situations that we're talking about.
Coach, flipping over to the offensive side of the ball, obviously still the struggles with the penalties right out of the gate of the ball game. And it's kind of been a recurring problem, but what needs to be rectified?
Well, I told them yesterday when we had our team meeting, one of the things you got to look at especially when you're inexperienced or young or whatever word you want to use is go play with confidence. And sometimes first play of the game, you're obviously your nerves, you're excited, you're not 100% sure, especially an O-lineman. You're not 100% sure what front you're going to get. You don't know if you're going to get blitz a first down. You don't know what the D-end's going to do or the D-lineman's going to do. So, you hate those penalties because people look at those and say, well, that's a discipline penalty. And I don't use the word discipline a lot with that. I think that's an anxious, inexperienced penalty that you've got to fix. But, from that point forward, we handled the penalties pretty well. We didn't have a holding call the other night, which, anytime you can go through a game, you can say, well, they could call holding every play. I almost want to have one or two holding calls because that means we're aggressive, but yet I don't want to tell linemen that it's okay to hold either. But, so there's things like that are going to happen in games. And then when you get to where you play, like in the second half, we're playing too many snaps on one side of the ball, bad things tend to happen.
Coach, let's talk about my favorite play from Friday night. The fake punt from Matthew Tatum early on in the first quarter caught me off guard, caught Brian off guard, caught a lot of people off guard. Just what weighed into that decision at that point in the ballgame?
Well, there's always two or three thought processes when we're always going to go in with one or two kicks in the kicking game that are either going to be a surprise or something that obviously, like this week, something Montgomery hasn't seen. The way Clear Springs lined up, they were basically asking us to do that based on how we line up. And I told Matthew Tatum, and Matthew is a lot like his two brothers that played for us. He is a natural playmaker. And surprisingly, I didn't see him get past the 30-yard line because there was a penalty as soon as the play happened, and I thought it was on us. So I'm standing back there kind of watching. But, our offensive line guys that are in there, Nathan Schweitzer, our center, did exactly what he should have done. Matthew did exactly what he should have done. And the big selling point, and Austin and I laughed about it later, your quarterback, in our case, quarterback/punter, his job is to turn and act like the ball went over his head. And if you watch the game, both defensive ends take off running. And the last thing I told him, when we run it, once it goes over your head, you take off running. Don't turn around and look. Well, he takes 2 steps and turns around and looks. So, but, we're going to do things sometimes for the play in that game because obviously we're trying to win the game. But I also know that Montgomery is going to work on stopping those kind of things, so it slows your rush down, so it makes our punt team even better.
Hey, Coach, offensively, your offense is still trying to find their legs or find the consistency. But looking back across really a tough 4-game pre-district stretch, what have you been most impressed by offensively?
Well, I think when you look and put minus Jawan, because Jawan was dinged up before the season. If you take Jawan away, our offensive linemen were the only guys that had any varsity experience whatsoever. And, no matter what we do as coaches through spring training, through the summer, through the fall, I can't simulate as a coach what the speed and the physical part of the game is going to be, especially if I'm a sophomore with no experience and I'm lined up against 8 guys on defense that are seniors. You cannot – I wish we could. I wish I could go hire a scout team that could do that, but you can't do that. So the inconsistency, but yet understanding what the inconsistencies are, like going back 2 weeks ago to Brian, Brian tried to stop our run game by slanting and moving their front, which actually helps you in terms of where the creases are. Those creases and those reads become so much easier. Clear Springs, I thought, did a great job of squeezing those running lanes, not getting out of their gap. And when that happens, it makes the read harder, it makes the cutback harder, and you lose some consistency. But, you also look and say, okay, Matthew Tatum is an experienced guy, but that's one receiver and one running back. Now who will be full go? that now we've got to get these other younger guys, again, to be more consistent and more confident. And that's easy to say, but that's hard to do.
Coach, flipping that question over to the defense, what have you liked out of your defense despite the amount of points given up in 3 of the 4 games played?
Well, they've played too many snaps the second half. That's the number one thing. And when you play a lot of snaps defensively, especially in the second half, you're probably going to end up on the bad end of some things statistically. I think, again, on that side of the ball, take away a couple D linemen. You've got some very young, physically young. I think Braylon and Shiloh are 2 guys that they've not been 100% consistent, but they've been very solid where we need them. Justin Angstadt, of course, we talked to last week. Justin's been around our program for a long time. Justin's going to be in the right spot no matter what the circumstances. When you got young guys in the secondary or inexperienced guys, again, flipping it the other way, the speed of a receiver, the play action by a quarterback. I thought Clear Springs quarterback the other night did a really good job of selling play action, and he's big enough to be able to see. And that creates another dimension that, again, it's you got to cover 2.5 seconds. I don't care who you are. That's tough.
Coach, we'll talk about that third phase of the game, the special teams. Big factor on Friday, and they've made some good plays so far through the non-district slate. What did you like out of your special teams?
Well, we had the kickoff return too many times, which is normally not a good thing, obviously, because you're not scoring at the rate that you want to score. I thought we were a little bit inconsistent there. We've got a simple philosophy there, and I think we will improve on that. We've tweaked it a little bit for this week. I thought our kickoff game was good most of the night. I thought our punt game was, it's still a work in progress, but when we have to punt from an offensive formation, I think Austin's much more comfortable. So we try to do that in situations where we know we can cover the field. I thought Joseph executed, what we needed Joseph to execute the other night. And the onside kick, that's and it seems like, okay, well, that's real easy, Coach. Kick it 10 yards and follow it. But you got to kick it, and it's got to go 10 yards. You can't let it hit you. And you don't know what those guys are going to do. So, for him not to have ever done that live in a game and to do it that easy and that consistent, and I think it surprised him a little bit when there was nobody there to pick the ball up. But, again, they were giving us something. Montgomery normally lines up like that. I'm sure Friday night they will not line up like that, and hopefully that takes a dimension away from them.
You know what I liked about that onside kick is, you're right. You think it's a simple thing, kick it 10 yards and run down and jump on it, but it's a very difficult play. But he gave his team a chance to get on it, and they did. And to me, that was a huge play instead of kicking it out of bounds or, straight into somebody's hands.
Well, and you ask your kicker on that kick. We ask our kicker, we ask our 2 inside guys to go block if those guys retreat back to the ball. But they were so far off the ball, I knew if he just hit it right, he's going to get it unless it hit him, which is hard to do because you ask him to outrun the ball and then slide and cover it. But, it was a perfect kick. It bounced perfect, and, that's one you put on your tape and you go, we can do this again. We just got to find the right situation.
Now, Coach, now that all the non-district is behind y'all and the way you scheduled it out, I know you'll have to probably wait until Friday to see if it helped you or hindered you, but do you think it's going to help you?
Well, there's no doubt. Playing quality competition, our program is at a phase, and Montgomery is going through the exact same thing. They won district last year, went whatever they went in the playoffs. Well, they had to deal with realignment too. He couldn't find games just like we couldn't find games. So, he's played New Caney, which is in the top 15 or 20 in 6A. He's played Argyle, who's number 1 in the state in 5A Division II. He's played Barbers Hill, who just beat Crosby Friday night. So, playing a schedule like that, there's times where, we all want to win every game. That's, and sometimes I don't think people understand there's nobody out there that wants to win more than our players and me. But to do that, to physically see where you are and be able to adjust and and hopefully make enough corrections, but yet when you do play a team that you don't want to say on your level, because you want your level to increase every week, but now we're in district where it's people we know, we've played before, they've played them, in sub-varsity, so there's no doubt in my mind it's going to help us be ready for Friday night.
Coach, before we step aside and take a break, final takeaways from Clear Springs.
Good first half, bad second half, and you can't do that against good teams.
Couldn't have said it better myself. All right, when we come back, folks, we'll take a look ahead to the matchup with Montgomery, the district opener, coming up in a few moments. Stay with us here on the Hornet Nation Coaches Show, live tonight from Chick-fil-A.
Did you know there's a place where you can get good neighbor service and surprisingly great rates on home and auto insurance? Yep, and that place is, ta-da, State Farm. Here's the deal. State Farm agent Diana K. Barnes is your go-to agent in Walker County for the service you deserve at the price you want. So stop shopping around. State Farm agent Diana K. Barnes has you covered. Call 936-295-2686 for your surprisingly great rates today. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Individual premiums will vary by customer. All applicants subject to State Farm underwriting requirements.
Bank with confidence with the hometown bank, First National Bank of Huntsville. Our bank lobbies are open, and we also have 3 drive-through locations, multiple ATMs, telephone banking, plus online and mobile banking options, all available for your safety and convenience. For over 130 years, our focus has always been about the great people in our community. As Huntsville's only locally owned community bank, you can trust First National Bank of Huntsville to be your financial partner today and for future generations.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, on the Hornet Nation Coaches Show, live tonight from Chick-fil-A in Huntsville. Hey, folks, how we doing tonight? Doing good? It's a gorgeous day today,
Well,
Brian.
man, we got a full house. Like it.
It was a little too warm, but hey.
Yeah, man, it was.
Cool temps are on the way. I was talking to Coach Southern about that this morning. What'd you say? It was going to be in the 60s next Friday for homecoming?
Yep, 68 degrees next Friday night.
Hallelujah.
I'm excited for that. All right, well.
We're going to will it to happen.
Yes, indeed.
Well, before we get to that, we got one game before that. It's against the Montgomery Bears, and we mentioned it coming out of the last segment. They enter 0-4, Coach. Very tough non-district schedule, as you said. New Caney, Barbers Hill, Dayton, and number 1 Argyle. Just give us a further outlook on what the Bears are going to be rolling out Friday night.
Well, I think they're very, very similar to us. I go through rosters and look at positions and look at experience and look at all the different levels. We're going to dress 13 sophomores. They're going to dress 17. They're dressing 4 freshmen. So they're in a very similar situation to us. Their senior class is about 24. Their junior class that's dressing varsity is only 12. So their makeup of their team looks very similar to us. In terms of, they had a huge graduation last year from a really good football team. So, they're going to be, obviously they're well coached. They've been well coached every year. Coach Bolfine was there, and Coach Cooper that's there now is the head coach. That will continue. You can see it on film. They do a lot of things offensively. They're playing a sophomore quarterback most of the time. Number 4, who's an athletic kid who – you can see he's learning on the job, just like Austin's learning on the job. So very familiar with us, and I think we're very familiar with them. And I think hopefully it's a good matchup for both teams. It'll be a good game for all the fans. It'll be awful for me and Coach Cooper. So,
Coach, one disadvantage I looked at when doing my prep for Friday was that Montgomery, they lost a lot of good players from last year. The one that stuck out to me, their star running back, Jalen Washington, who's now in Huntsville, but he's with the Bearcats. Yep. How does this play to the advantage of your front 7?
Well, I think anytime you lose skill guys and your line is, whether it's intact or not, I think skill guys, it's about timing, it's about execution, and it's also about understanding that, you're playing like they did as well as we did. You're playing tough football teams who consistently may be better than you. So, I'm sure they've learned some of the same lessons we've learned. They had the one close against Dayton. Dayton scored in the last 4 or 5 minutes of the game to beat them. A couple of them haven't been close because I think those other teams are just better than them. New Caney beat the Woodlands the other night. They're a good football team. They've got a kid that's already committed to Alabama, so when you got those kind of players. But you learn, even though there are lessons you don't like learning, you learn angles, you learn what you need to do from a skill standpoint and an offensive and defensive line. But, their running back a year ago was a good football player. Their offensive line last year was solid, especially at tackles. And they've got 3 of those guys back, but they're inside guys. I'm sure they're going to do the same thing they've been doing, just try to add to it and try to make some plays in some critical situations against us, just like we're going to do against them.
And then, Coach, defensively, do they have any phase of the defense, whether it be the front 7 or the secondary, that's going to have any advantages?
Well, they're kind of mixed in all 3 phases. Now, they've had a couple guys in the secondary, similar to us, where they've got cross on whatever they were supposed to do, and they've given up some big pass plays. But their offense has done a good enough job running the football to keep their defense off the field, which when you're playing the kind of schedules that we're playing, that's something there's got to be some complementary stuff there. But their experience, they've got a few guys at each level. They've got 2 in the secondary, 1 at linebacker, and 2 at the either DN or outside linebacker position, that guys that played a good bit last year. They may not have been starters, but they've at least got varsity experience.
Coach, we talked a little bit a while ago before the show started about how practice was. So if you could maybe help out, tell the audience and the radio listeners kind of a review of your week this week.
Well, the big thing this week, with all the construction that has now started, it's taken, our full practice field and part of another practice field. So we are having to do everything we do on the turf. Our freshmen are actually having to go up on the top field. But we had a junior high game on Monday night instead of Tuesday night this week, because that usually sets the tempo for what our practice, our long day, whether it's Tuesday or Monday in terms of the afternoon. And I actually liked the way we did it. We were a little shorter on Monday. We were longer on Tuesday. Now, Tuesday was tough because it was 98 degrees when we walked on the practice field. And but it gave me a chance to go back and remind everybody about how much important it is to hydrate and keep doing the things we've been doing, even though at some point, it's going to get cooler. But and then I thought today, we were on the fly today. We worked first series of the game. We worked first series of where you're going to be on the field. We worked a 2-minute drill. So, I thought up to this point, we've had a good week, even handling tutorials and grades and all that in the process.
Coach, looking at your offense, and I want to specifically focus on the boys in the trenches. What's going to be needed out of them to be able to create time for your offense, as there has been, ebbs and flows with it through non-district?
Well, I think, again, the consistency to run the football, and we all love watching football and throwing it all over the place and doing all the fancy things you do throwing the ball. But if you can't line up at some point and get 2 or 3 yards and get a first down, then you're going to have some struggles. So, we've worked really hard this week in terms of what we call our stretch game, of getting where we give running backs more than one option in terms of the crease where he's got to go, and the ability to protect once we play action off that.
Coach, defensively, what aspect of the defense, what do they need to do Friday night to shut down Montgomery?
Well, I think the big thing, you got a sophomore quarterback, you've got a sophomore running back, you've got a junior running back, you've got a couple seniors that play a little bit at receiver, but you got some young kids over there as well. So being able to, number one, pressure the quarterback, because obviously a young guy, pressure is probably one of the worst things that they want to see. But for us, we got to stop their run game because, they've consistently, even against the good people, they've gotten enough first downs to keep their defense off the field. And when you do that, that helps your kicking game, and it obviously helps your offense. So, we've got to be able to shut the run down and not give up the big play. And that's what, second half, that's what killed us the other night. We shut the run down, but we gave up big plays in the secondary. So you got to be able to do both of those things.
Coach, you guys, as you had mentioned, you're bringing back Juwan Giddens this week. You hopefully also get to bring back Isaiah Collins as well. I mean, how important is it to just really have all hands on deck?
Well, I think going into district, obviously you want to be healthy, number one. Isaiah's still dealing with a little bit of a problem, but I think he'll be good by Friday. Juwan's practiced all week, and Juwan gives us another running back, but it also will allow us, if we need to, J-Bug, the star of the show last week, he also plays some corner too, which gives us another body to use at corner as well.
Coach, I know it's a team sport of football, but individually, who are you going to be looking to step out in a big way on Friday?
Well, I think, for us, again, confidence and the consistency to do what we do. I don't know if there's ever going to be that guy, but, I'm going to always put a lot of that on Juwan. Juwan and I have a great relationship, and I've already told him, what's expected of him. And he wanted to play more the other night, but, we were not going to risk that situation, especially knowing what was happening this week. But Juwan's got to be a playmaker. Obviously, our O-line has to continue to get better and be more consistent. And and Braylon had 2 weeks that where Braylon, it was pretty obvious he was the best defensive player on the field. And, he's got to have one of those kind of nights too.
And then, Coach, it's no secret this is going to be a highly competitive district this year with how everything looks to be shaping out following non-district. Running up the score, if you get put in that position, is that going to help you down the line?
Well, I think you gotta have a little different philosophy when you get into district. Our tiebreaker is a plus 18 points, and you never know. In this district, it's balanced as it looks in terms of film, in terms of what each team presents. You can't go in and say we're going to try to outscore somebody, but if we have the opportunity to kick field goals or kick extra points or do those kind of things, you have to think about this game and winning this game, but you also have to think about how this game could potentially play in a tie-break situation 4 weeks from now, or in a situation where there's a 3 or a 4-way tie and it comes down to points. You don't want to be obviously you don't want to be on the losing end, but you also don't want to be on the points end of a game either. And those are things that most people don't ever think about at games because they don't know. But, when you're just like we'll discuss prior to the game, the officials will want to know because at the end of the game, if we score a touchdown to win the game, we need to kick the extra point regardless of what the circumstances are. And Montgomery's obviously going to think the same way because they're in the same situation.
Coach, just to wrap all this up, keys to a win to improve to 2-3 and get going on the right foot in district.
Well, the big thing for us, and I told the kids last Saturday, we wiped the slate clean. So for us, we need to be 1-0 when this is over. We've got to be consistent offensively, and we've got to start the game whether we're on offense or not, because that's out of my control sometimes. We've got to start the game and take the ball down and score. We haven't done that the last 3 weeks, and obviously it's hurt us. We've got to be very consistent against the run. We've got to tackle well, and we've got to have some point in the kicking game. We need one more big play, and if that's a score, great. If it's not a score but it sets us up for a score, and those are things you kind of want to go in every week, but we just got to play better as an overall team.
Hey, you heard it from the coach himself. Y'all give a big round of applause. Head coach Rodney Southern tonight as we get ready for the game against Montgomery Friday night. And now we will move on to one of my favorite parts of the show. We get to chat with the players themselves. We'll go to the trenches first. Center Cesar Robledo. Did I get that right? All right, there we go. He is coming up first, so stick around, folks. We'll be back in a few moments on the Hornet Nation Coaches Show live tonight from Chick-fil-A.
Going to the dentist doesn't have to be an unpleasant experience. The dentists at Huntsville Family Dental specialize in a wide variety of dental services, including implants, fillings, crowns, veneers, and more. Feel at home and have your anxiety comforted. Dental health is important. Don't allow tooth pain to turn into something much more serious. Give the family-friendly team at Huntsville Family Dental a call today at 295-5437. That's Huntsville Family Dental, 295-5437.
AB Squared Self-Storage is your local go-to self-storage facility that can help give you the extra space you need, big or small. From non-climate and climate-controlled storage to parking spaces for your car, boat, trailer, and RV, they have it all. AB Squared Self-Storage has 24-hour computerized gate access, around-the-clock security camera monitoring, no long-term lease commitment, and convenient payment option. Give them a call today at 936-755-5000 or reserve your space online at www.ab2selfstorage.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, on the Hornet Nation Coaches Show. Yo, how are we doing tonight, ladies and gentlemen? Y'all doing good?
Yeah, there you go.
Julian's fired up. That's good to see. See some familiar folks in the house tonight. Ken Holland and his daughters are here. Good to see you guys. Sharon, congrats to you last night, picking up a big win over Madisonville on the volleyball courts last night. So big congratulations to you guys.
I need to say a quick hello to my friend and supervisor, Warren Carmody, back there. Thank you for coming, Warren.
And a good friend of ours, Big Milton Green back there. Thanks for coming out tonight. Good to have you guys out here
see you, Milt.
this evening. All right, let's get right into it. The player segment's one of my favorite parts here. We have from the offensive line, the snapper, the center, Cesar Robledo. Y'all give him a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Cesar, how you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good today.
Doing good?
Yes, sir.
Relaxed?
Yes, sir.
Chill day?
Yes, sir.
There you go. How's the season been so far for you, from your perspective?
I say it's been pretty good since now that I'm officially a starter and, it's secured spot for me. So I'd say I had a pretty good year so far. A couple things I can clean up, but it's nothing I can't fix.
Hey, there you go.
Nice.
That's the right attitude to have.
It is.
Let me ask you, what or who got you into playing football?
I say, well, my mom and my dad signed me up, and I didn't know because at first I played soccer, but then I started eating a lot more. So then football really worked out for me. At first I played guard, but then I moved to center because I guess it was just I had the knowledge for it. It's not super hard, and then just stuck with it. And I had the same coaches growing up, so I really stuck with football, and they stuck with me.
So you would say that's really what intrigued you most about playing on that offensive line?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let's look back through non-district play. You guys have done very well. Be able to protect your young QB, creating the running lanes for your running back carousel, if you will. What's the chemistry been like for you guys on that offensive line?
I say we have a really good chemistry. Even though I'm the new person on the O-line, I say we all really connect well. We all communicate really well. And then the fact that we're all seniors, we all really grew up together. So it's kind of just it's been nothing new. We kind of all just talk regular amongst each other's. So,
I mean, that's an interesting dynamic because it's not very often that every guy on the offensive line is a senior, so you're able to gel really well together. Brian?
Yes, sir.
You know what? The offensive line, man, is such an important position because without you guys, I mean, you really can't have football, right? Because you can't move the ball, you can't do any of that kind of stuff. So you guys are really the unsung heroes, right? What kind of conversations do you guys have amongst your O-line teammates to fire each other up, pick each other up, that kind of thing?
Really, Chris Smith guides us into the direction. He tells us, we need to pick it up, and, we always got something to show for because we got a lot of skill out there in the front. So I say we talk amongst each other. We don't go together as a group because as the O-line, we're all a unit as one. So unless we're all working together, then nothing happens. Nothing too big happens.
Now, what about through the rest of the offense with Austin, with the running back guys and the wideouts? What do y'all really just discuss going into a ball game? We
all communicate that we tell Austin to sit comfortable in the pocket. We're going to give him enough time, and then we talk to Kieran and our other running backs. We're ready for Jawan to come back, but we talk to our other running backs that either follow behind us whenever we see an opening or whenever there's no opening. Just, find somewhere, get somewhere.
Now, let's look ahead to Friday, Cesar. What have you seen on film of Montgomery's front seven that might pose a challenge?
I don't really see too big of a challenge. I see more just adapt and just adjust to what's in front. They got multiple different fronts, so, just adjust on the fly, think smart, and play together.
Now, you have a different dynamic as an offensive lineman. You have a lot of things that you have to balance as the center. You got to worry about your blocking. You got to worry about, let me not botch this snap right here. Just really what goes on through your head as you walk up to the line of scrimmage to snap.
I pretty much don't worry about my snaps. I know they're going to be right. And if they're not right, Austin will adjust or he'll talk to me about it. But I'm really just reading the front and reading backers because since I'm in the middle, I have to either call odd or even. So I just have to be the more vocal one. And let alone with my smart guards, since I have really good guards, they communicate whenever I don't get something right. And then my tackles, they listen and they play well.
What have you been working on this week in practice to help make you better in preparation for Montgomery Friday?
I say just getting faster off the ball because they got some good noses. They got some real beef in the front, but it's nothing I can't handle.
Hey, that's the right
That's
attitude
that confidence.
It's good confidence. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. You're the offensive line coach, Logan Brock. Am I correct on that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What's been like learning under him?
Coach Brock, really good coach to me. I'd say he's the one coach that always really wanted me to have a chance out there. He always looked out for me, and whenever there's something I do wrong, he always communicates real well with me, just one-on-one personally. He never goes out in public and says anything. You know, he always knew I could do something. So he leans a lot on me.
Now, answer this next one carefully because he's here. What's it been like under head coach Rodney Southern?
Oh, it's been real well.
Good answer.
He always communicates with me, especially like whenever we go into our field goal. Sometimes I have my faults, but he always communicates well with me. And like he always tells me whenever I'm doing wrong or whenever I need to adjust on the fly. Sometimes I have my faults at practice, and he'll just get a little attitude adjustment because sometimes I throw my little fits, but he gets me right up.
Now, we've established you're a senior. This is your last go-around at the high school level. I mean, what does it mean to you personally to be one of the senior leaders on this team?
Just get in and get out. Like, make it a good year.
That's good. That's a good attitude to have. Now, let's go through your week each week. What does it look like? I mean, is it just the kind of thing like, I'm going to wake up, I'm going to eat, I'm going to go to school, and then I go to practice, and then I go back to sleep? What's your week look like every week?
It's kind of the same thing over and over, exactly how you put it. I kind of sit and just watch huddle. Sometimes it's not my footage, sometimes old footage. I just like to watch and see how I grew, or just watch like the next team that we're playing. I keep my head in huddle because, I mean, the huddle ain't going to lie, so I kind of just pick up from what I'm watching.
Now, do you have just a hero that you've looked up to, or just who inspires you really to be the best that you can be every week?
I'm not really sure. I'd say
your teammates pointing at him.
All right, yeah. I'd say Julian Casanova. He's always put something in front of me. Sometimes I get the best of him, but then some days he comes out of the gate and he whoops me, and Brock gets me right after that. So.
Do you have any pregame routines before a ball game? Loud music has been the common theme on this show. Certain meal that you like to eat before a game?
No, I don't eat too heavy on game days. I like to be well rested. That's really it. So really, I just listen to a lot of music.
What kind in particular?
Rod Wave.
Rod Wave. I may be young, but I don't
Alrighty
know what that is. What do you do for fun outside of football?
I do welding.
Welding?
Yes, sir.
I was not expecting that. Okay, tell me a little bit about that. How'd you get into that?
Really, I didn't. Welding would be like my backup. I really want to pursue football, but welding is. I take college credit welding, and I do pretty good in that. Steady hand, smart with it. Just nothing off from what I already do.
Yeah, that's admirable. And now, looking back inside of football, if there's another position you could play outside of center, what and why?
Running back.
Hey.
At least you didn't say
let
kicker.
a big man tote the rock.
There's been some big running backs coming through the college and the NFL ranks. So, hey, that's always out there for you. Now, if you could play another sport, I know you mentioned you played soccer a little bit, but if there was another sport, what would you play?
I wish I could do wrestling, but I like to eat, so it's hard to maintain a weight.
Like actual wrestling, or are we talking WWE?
Oh, no, like actual wrestling,
okay.
Like under the school.
Smart. Your favorite food?
Wings.
Wings. What flavor?
Really anything.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Just anything?
More on the hot side, though.
Hey, that's the only way to go. Your favorite type of music outside of Rod Wave?
I say rap.
Rap?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Your favorite NFL or college football team?
Alabama for college, and then for NFL, not many people like them, but the Cowboys.
Look at that response.
You got a good response from them. My broadcast engineer and I are groaning, but, it is what it is. Favorite pro team outside of football?
Favorite what?
pro team outside of football? So like a baseball or basketball?
I'd say basketball. I don't really pay attention to baseball, but I really like basketball.
Who's your favorite pro team there in basketball?
LeBron. I say I just go watch LeBron anywhere. Anywhere. You can say I'm a bandwagon. I love LeBron.
Just anywhere? Cleveland, Miami, Los Angeles?
Anywhere.
All right, there you go.
Wherever he's been.
There you go.
What are your plans after high school?
If it's not football, I'll go welding. I'll probably either go Lone Star or maybe even go Lone Star for a little bit, get my certifications, and then go upstate and do welding.
Okay, there you
Nice.
go.
Very
now, this has been, as I've said in previous episodes of this show, the most scrutinized question amongst our defensive side, and we don't have a defensive player tonight, so what do you like most about school?
Really, I don't look forward to too much in school. I mean, just get in and get out, but other than that, welding.
The welding?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay, there you go.
What's your favorite part of welding? TIG welding, arc welding? Is it?
I haven't got to TIG yet. I don't really like MIG because anybody can do MIG. I really like stick. There's a lot of if, ands, and buts in TIG or in stick, so I say stick's my favorite.
Okay.
Nice.
There you go. All right, Cesar, before we let you go, anybody want to give a shout-out to?
My mom, my dad, my grandmas, both of them, and happy birthday to one of my grandmas. All my big boys in the trenches, O-line, D-line, Coach TJ, Coach Brock, and Coach Saint for always giving me a chance. And, yeah.
Hey, there you go. Y'all give a big round of applause. Cesar Robledo, center tonight. Thanks for coming on, bro. And now we will move on to, and this is a special treat, we get to the special teams tonight here for our second segment. We will have kicker Joseph Mejia come up here in a few moments, so stick with us on the Hornet Nation Coaches Show.
Barnes has great service. Been your good neighbor agent for 35 years after all. But did you know that State Farm has surprisingly great rates too? Yep, that's right. Along with good neighbor service, State Farm agent Diana K. Barnes has surprisingly great rates for everyone in Walker County. So call State Farm agent Diana K. Barnes at 936-295-2686 for your surprisingly great rates today. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Individual premiums will vary by customer. All applicants subject to State Farm underwriting requirements.
Burn calories for free. Schedule your free total body workout with a certified trainer today. Did you know that if you work out in the wrong heart rate zone, you're wasting your time? But building lean muscle and burning calories is what we do at Curbs, the right way. In just 30 minutes, you can burn inches, lose that stubborn weight, and gain the muscle tone we all want. Message us on Facebook or call us at 295-3900 to claim your free custom workout. See you soon.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, on the Hornet Nation Coaches Show, live tonight from Chick-fil-A in Huntsville. How we doing? How we doing? Come on, let me hear you. Indeed, it is your kicker. All right, let's move on to our next segment here. With us tonight from the special teams unit, kicker Joseph Mejia. Y'all give him a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Joseph, how you doing, man?
Oh, I'm doing great.
Doing good, doing good. How's the week been so far?
It's been really good. Yeah.
Just a relaxing week, kind of like
relaxing, practicing. I mean, this has been great.
There you go. Now, what led you to playing football? I heard from Coach this is your first time ever playing football. Is that correct?
Yeah.
What really led into that decision to playing football?
Well, it was really during the summer. I came to summer workouts a lot, and I mean, I think my coach, Coach Wagner, he really he was looking around for like a kicker, and then Coach Taylor, the soccer coach, he put in a word for me, and then I just came to practice one day, started kicking, and I fell in love with it. And ever since then, it just took off.
I mean, what have you enjoyed most about the season so far, just getting to kick?
Oh, yeah, just like kicking the ball and just, I mean, really the team and everyone is just an amazing environment. And, I mean, the away games, just everything that football comes with is just really amazing.
Now, let's talk about your highlight from last Friday, that onside kick. Let's talk about that. The best way to put this, folks, is that you looked like a natural Pat McAfee out there is what it was with that kick. What was really going on through your mind before that kickoff happened?
Well, really, like when you're put in that kind of situation, you really just have to clear your mind, like for anything, or then it's just like you can't really think about it too much. You just have to go with it, go with how you've been practicing every day, and then just let it happen. And then, I mean, it worked out perfectly for me.
Were you shocked that, just there was no one around you? Because I was watching you go up, and I was like, oh, wow, there's no one around him.
Oh, yeah.
And he landed on it. I was like, oh, my gosh. I mean, it was a bit of a shock for you.
I mean, yeah, it was shocked, but I was surprised, but it just felt amazing once it happened.
Oh, I mean, it's always great when that happens. Brian?
What's it been like working alongside Claudio and the rest of the special teams unit so far this season?
I mean, it's been good. They've been giving me tips like when we're practicing, because I just started. I'm still learning. There's many things I have to learn still, but they're just amazing people that I could talk to if I have any questions. I mean, they're just great to be around.
Now, you're stepping into a role that was handled by Christian Avalar last season. I mean, just not knowing y'all's relationship, I mean, did you get to learn a little bit from him at all?
I knew he played soccer, and I played soccer last year, so I knew him a little bit, but we didn't really talk much. But I knew he was a good person, a good athlete.
Okay. Now, what's really been the theme for you in practice? Because special teams, it's a different dynamic from the other two phases of the game. I mean, what's really been the theme for you and your main focus to get ready for Montgomery?
Well, lately I've been practicing with because I tend to keep my head up, like when I kick, and that's really a problem that you need to it's not good to have. So lately I've been just practicing keeping my head down, following through the ball, and walking forward.
Now, as a kicker, what do you think, just from your personal experience thus far, playing football, what's the hardest part about it? Because a lot of people look at it from the outside and be like, oh, he's just kicking a ball. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing hard to do there. I mean, but there's a lot that goes into it. What's the hardest part from your perspective?
The hardest part, I'll say, is the mentality part. It's 70%. When you step on the field, you just have to clear your mind from everything, and 70% of his mentality. You just have to have a good mindset. You just have to be strong and just be prepared.
Have you done? You've done some kickoffs this season.
Oh, yeah.
As well. All right. Let me ask you this: there's multiple different kickoffs you can do if you aren't aware. You got your deep ones that'll just sail into the back of the end zone. You got your onside kicks like the one you had. You got your squib kicks. Which do you prefer to do?
Well, I really like the onside kicks, especially the middle dribble ones, which I did last game. But I also like the deep kicks because you could just hit the ball as hard as you can. And I just love doing that because I used to do that at soccer a lot.
Right.
So it's really good for me.
Let me ask you while I got you on that soccer. What position did you play in soccer?
Oh, I play center back.
Center back. Okay.
Defense, yes, sir.
Now, I'm not very knowledgeable with soccer just because, I've just never watched it all that much, to be honest with you. I mean, just what does that position do?
It's pretty much defense, the last man before the goalkeeper. It's you have to be strong, just block anyone from shooting, and just defend as much as you can.
And so that kind of plays into you being able to be a good kicker as well, because most of the time you're just trying to clear the ball out of there and before it even gets to the goalkeeper, right?
Take us through a typical week for you from the beginning until game time, and what do you do and why?
Well, in the mornings I always like taking cold showers because it just it cools me down, makes me feel refreshed. And then, I just go to practice in the morning, take a shower again, and then...
Well, does Coach Southern, remember, he's sitting right in front of you, so be careful with your answer, but for kickers, do you guys do a lot of running and conditioning? Or
not so much, but, there's still a lot of conditioning that goes into it. And you just have to be, you also have to be, a good athlete. You can't just be, you need to be ready for that kind of stuff because, anything could happen, really.
Can't be just a regular guy off the street.
Exactly.
Now, who's really been a big inspiration to you on and off the field?
A big inspiration, I'd say, really my coaches. Coach Wagner. He just I just love the relationship we have with each other, and he just inspired me to get better every day, and just practice is amazing with him.
Do you have any pregame routines? Loud music, certain meal?
I like eating light, but I like listening to music, especially on the away games. I like heavy bass.
Okay.
Yeah, just putting my earphones with volume all the way up. It just clears my mind.
Just helps you lock in.
Yeah.
Now, what do you do for fun outside of football? You still play soccer a little bit?
Oh, yeah. I'm going to play soccer this year for when the season starts, but I also do band.
Okay.
And I march with them during halftime.
Okay. What do you play?
Trombone.
Hey,
nice.
There you go.
Very nice.
Playing trombone.
Yes,
I was never in bands. I wasn't that talented. That's why I'm doing this. If you could play any other position than kicker, I know you haven't had a whole lot of time to think about this, but if there was another position. See, this is kind of the flip now. I mean, everyone was saying Matthew wanted to say he played kicker, but now what would you play outside of that?
Well, so probably mostly somewhere in the defense area. Not sure where, but I would like to give it a try.
See, you got some depth here, Coach. Give him some tries.
I think it would be really fun. Yeah,
really fun. Like maybe in the secondary or something like kind of like what Claudio does as well. Okay. Excuse me. Favorite kind of food that you like to enjoy, just outside of?
I really like seafood, specifically crab legs.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. You already won me over with that one. Are you a crawfish guy?
Oh, yeah. Oh, definitely.
You and I are going to get along just fine. Do you have a favorite kind of music you like to listen to outside of?
Well, I really like Christian worship music.
Really?
Yeah, I love that, and just heavy bass also.
Hey, that's good. That's good.
My go-tos, yeah.
Ryan,
what's your favorite professional or college team in any sport?
In any sport?
Any sport.
I have to go with Liverpool for soccer.
Oh man, there you go. Who's your favorite player on Liverpool's team?
Van Dijk.
Van Dijk?
Yeah, he's a center back.
Okay. Well, I mean, hey, that suits you good.
Oh, yeah.
I need to get into soccer more because I know who Liverpool is, but, I just not fully understand. I just still don't understand the game, no offense. But do you have a favorite professional athlete in any sport?
Athlete? I'll say Van Dijk.
You say Van Dijk?
I love the way he plays, his strengths.
Mm-hmm.
I try to look like him as much as I can because I just love how he plays, yeah.
All right. Now let me ask you this. For a special teams player, I've gotten to ask this. What do you like most about school?
About school? I say practice. Really, I look forward to it in the morning and then after school. I mean, the heat has been really hot lately, but besides that, it's just a good place to be at. Like, it really helps you just calm down.
What about on the academic side? Is there a favorite subject in particular?
I like physics.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
Physics, wow. That kind of blindsided me.
Stumped you?
I hated physics in high school, so there you go. Joseph, before we let you go, anybody you want to give a shout out to? Anyone out here in the crowd? Anyone watching at home?
My sister over there, my mom. I'd like to give a shout out to them and just for God for giving me this opportunity that I never really thought I would get, but I'm just very thankful for it.
Hey, we were glad to have you on here. Y'all give him a big round of applause.
Good job. Very good
Kicker
job.
Joseph Mejia with us this evening. All right, we have got one final segment to get to. We will bring up the president of the Huntsville Hornet Quarterback Club, Mrs. Casey Kroll. She'll come up here and let you know what's going on in Hornet Nation, so stick around here on the show, folks.
The City of Huntsville's Main Street program is hosting the annual Touch-A-Truck event on September 24th, 2022 from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Touch-A-Truck is a great event for kids to climb on, learn about, and discover their favorite big trucks and vehicles, such as police vehicles, construction trucks, fire trucks, and more. If you have a child with sensory issues who cannot be around loud noise, we will have a quiet hour from 10 to 11 a.m. where no sirens will be used. The City of Huntsville's Main Street program annual Touch-A-Truck event on September 24th, 2022 from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. located in downtown Huntsville along University Avenue and 12th Street.
You've heard about Laura's Cleaning Service and all the services Laura provides, but Laura's Cleaning Service is also certified as a chronic disorganization specialist. If you're disorganized and it affects your quality of life, Laura's Cleaning Service can help. Laura is also a certified hoarder specialist and can help you or a loved one. She is licensed, bonded, and insured. That's Laura's Cleaning Service since 1998. Call 936-577-4717 for your free estimate. Your only call is Laura's Cleaning Service.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, getting ready to wrap up the show tonight here on the Hornet Nation Coaches Show live from Chick-fil-A in Huntsville. With us now is the president of the Huntsville Hornet Quarterback Club, Booster Club, Mrs. Casey Kroll. Casey, how you doing?
I'm doing good.
Doing very good?
Well, sound like a frog, but yeah.
That's okay. That's okay. All right. What you got on tap for Hornet Nation coming up this week for the first district game?
Well, district game, we're just going to travel, but I have some save the dates. So mark these on your calendar. Next Thursday is the homecoming parade. We will have a float with the football players on it. Senior moms, make sure that you, or dads, on October the 16th, we'll be doing the parent photos with game day photos at the high school field at 4 o'clock. look on our Facebook page for more details. 1021 Hornet Buddies sponsor. That's where all of our little Hornet Buddies come out on the field. We're going to ask that our sponsors that sponsored this year join them, and we're going to take a picture, and then the Hornet Buddies get to stand next to the football players.
Hey, there you go.
Oh, that's cool.
On October 29th, we have the end of the season junior high event. These are all things that we're also still working on. Every Monday when we have our meetings, we need people's input and help. And then we've got a tailgate for opening weekend of deer season. That is November the 4th for you guys that don't know. And then all the high school football players, parents, so you're informed now because your kids won't tell you, January 12th is the banquet night. So moms, January 12th is banquet night.
January 12th.
Yep. And everything that I went over, we're discussing these every Monday at the meeting, 6 o'clock at the field house down in the film room.
Brian, when it comes to the banquet, I might need you to fill me in because I will be in Cedar City, Utah that night with Bearcat men's basketball. That's also my 25th birthday. I'm just going to throw that out there.
Very nice.
No, it's a lot of great stuff coming up, especially the homecoming parade coming up next week. Your friends here at KSAM, we will be in that parade as well. That'll be a good time. Casey, do you have anything else for us?
All this is going to be eventually on our Facebook page closer to each date, so please follow us on Facebook. Hornet flags. If you're flying your Hornet flag, take a picture, post it. Hornet football, Huntsville Hornet football on Facebook.
Now, if you want to win a flag at the end of the year, we have our box over here. You can fill it out, and then at the end of the season on our last show, we would do a drawing, and then you will get a Hornet flag as well. Brian?
Yeah. For those of you guys who are here tonight, well, first of all, thank you for being here. And those of you guys who are listening on the radio, please help out the Hornet Quarterback Club. It is a noble thing. It's a noble cause. It is a worthy cause, and they need your help. So really, truly, if you can volunteer, do a ball game, do a concession stand, I mean, whatever it is, please help out. They need the help.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely, Casey. We always love having you on the show. And now before we go, folks, we will have our broadcaster breakdown as we get ready for this ball game on Friday. Brian, before we go, as we are actually short on time, what are you looking to see on Friday night?
Well, just to kind of reiterate what Coach Rodney Southern was talking about, just, consistency, eliminate the big plays on defense. You got to score. Simple as that. And in that big O-line, they need to hold those blocks just a little bit longer. Let Austin go through his progressions, look at his reads. And if they do those things, man, it's going to be a Hornet victory.
Hey, there you go. We will be there as well. We will have the broadcast for you down in Montgomery, a 40-minute drive, so it's not a very far drive, folks. Come on out, support the Hornets on Friday night. We will be there pregame at 7 p.m., kickoff at 7:30. And I have great news. Video is back this week, so we will have the broadcast live for you on there on the Hornet Nation Broadcast Network and on the FM airwaves on KSAM. That will do it for us tonight. Big thank you to all of you folks coming out tonight. We were so glad to have all of you, and to all of our special guests, to head coach Rodney Southern, and for Mrs. Casey Kroll, and for Brian Adams, I'm Carlos Zimmerman. Thank you for joining us. And before we go, as we always do, let's let the folks in Montgomery know what's going to go down Friday night. A big Hornet win. Get your pinkies out, and let's give them a big 1, 2, 3 Sting 'em Hornets. 1, 2, 3.
Sting 'em.
Y'all have a good night. Thanks for joining us, and we will see you next week. And we will see you Friday night. Sting 'em Hornets.
This has been the Huntsville Hornets Coaches Show with head coach Rodney Southern. Brought to you by Chick-fil-A. Hornet pride lives on KSAM.